So when the pandemic happened and everybody was required to stay home, this created a wave of companies and employees having to adjust to a new way of working, which was working from home. But when things started to open back up and everybody was able to step outside again, workers got comfortable with the whole work from home lifestyle. So some companies were okay with it and others weren't. Regardless, due to the fact that the pandemic created a labor shortage, companies had no choice but to cater to what workers wanted, which was to work remotely. But now time has passed and everyone's, predicting a recession. It seems like companies are starting to feel like they have a little bit more leverage when it comes to getting people back in the office. So I came across a couple of articles on CNBC. And starting with this one with Starbucks, it says Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz tells corporate workers to return to the office 3 days a week. All right, so it starts off, it says Starbucks corporate employees will be returning to the office at least 3 days a week by the end of the month. Starting January 30th, employees within commuting distance will be required to report to the Coffee Giant Seattle headquarters on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and a third day decided by their teams. The memo didn't specify what qualified as commuting distance. Workers closely to regional office will also be required to come in 3 days a week, although the specific days aren't mandated. Now, the Coffee Giant's corporate workforce has been working remotely since the start of the pandemic. In September, Starbucks asked other workers to work from the home office 1 to 2 days a week, but CEO Schultz wrote in a memo that employees on Wednesday, that badging data showed employees weren't adhering to the directive. So some employees were like, you know what, I'm not coming in 1 to 2 days a week. People got very comfortable with the work from home lifestyle. So even though Starbucks was like, yo, we need you guys to come in, 1 to 2 days a week, people just said, you know what, yeah, I'm not going to do that. So obviously, they made adjustments and said, you know what, we got to figure out a different way how to do this. So the new policy was meant to rebuild our connection to each other and synchronize teams and efforts, said the memo from Schultz, who is departing the company this spring. He's also compared corporate workers continue remote work to baristas who have had the option. And I'm hearing this from a lot of companies, or I'm reading this from a lot of companies, that obviously the ones that are trying to bring employees back to the office is because they feel it's a better environment, working with your coworkers face to face instead of having to work from it remotely. It helps build a better connection. So I think I'm hearing a lot of companies use this same type of rhetoric to give a reason for why they want to bring back the employees back to the office. But obviously, there's going to be a lot of people that don't really care. They're going to want to work from home, which is where a lot of people feel more comfortable. It says Starbucks isn't the only company that has recently mandated a stricter return to policy. CEO Bob Iger, who has returned from the second leadership stint at Disney, told employees on Monday that they must return to the office. And going to that article, it says, here's another article. It says Bob Iger tells Disney employees they must return to the office 4 days a week. So you got Starbucks talking about 3 days a week, and then you got Disney, Bob Iger, saying that they want employees to come back 4 days a week. So it's going to be interesting to see how people respond to this. All right. So what does he say? He says, so CEO Bob Iger told hybrid employees on Monday that they must return to corporate office 4 days a week starting March 1st, according to an email obtained by CNBC. In the email, Iger stressed the importance of in-person collaboration. All right. So here he goes again with the rhetoric of, being able to work with your coworkers in person. So as I've been meeting with teams throughout the company over the past few months, I've been reminded of the tremendous value in being together with your people you work with, Iger wrote. As you have heard me say many times, creativity is the heart and soul of who we are and what we do at Disney. And in a creative business like ours, nothing can replace the ability to connect, observe, and create with peers that comes with being physically together, nor the opportunity to grow professionally by learning from leaders and mentors. During the pandemic, many companies opted to work from home as a hybrid models that kept large gatherings of people and thus the spread of COVID down to a minimum as vaccinations rose and cases where hospitalizations fell. Companies like Disney look to bring staff back to offices and return to a more normalized pre-pandemic work environment. Iger's 4-day week stipulation is relatively strict compared to other large companies, which have opted for 2 or 3 mandated in-office days for hybrid employees. Apple mandated employees return to work 3 days a week. In September, Twitter owned Elon Musk, who has famously slept in his company's facilities, has a show of commitment, ordered nearly all Twitter employees to return to the office in November. Disney's new policy comes less than 2 months after Iger returned to the helm of the company. So the question I got is, obviously when it comes to they're asking the employees to come 4 days a week, and I think this is a tactic, right? Right now they're starting with 2, 3, 4 days a week because they want to ease them back into the process. You don't want to just say, all right, you don't want people going from remote work to just say, oh, come back to the week, come back to the office 5 days a week. So they start with the 2, 3, 4 days just to get them used to it. It's like almost like if you worked in the office, like you went on vacation for about a week or two, and then the next day you gotta go to work. Like, damn, man, I gotta go back to work. It's not a good feeling. So I think with the whole starting with 2 to 3 days, it's a way to ease them back into the whole work at the office process. So you don't want to just go throwing back in 5 days a week and create a environment. Maybe they'll go back to that. Maybe they'll stick to the hybrid. But if you're gonna go 4 days a week, maybe it's a way of easing them back into the 5 days a week. And another thing is, I've noticed that so when it comes to when things are good, like when the economy's going good, it's easy for companies to say, what, man, it's easy to give employees perks. Like you get the latte, you get the coffee machine, you get the pool table. If you look at Twitter, you get all types of perks, the buffets, you get all these great things when a company's making money. But when times are getting tough, and you're losing money, that's when the companies start taking things away. They say, all right, we need to buckle down. They start taking away all the perks, and they say, you know what, and that's probably what's going on when it comes to remote work. They're saying, you know what, we're losing money. We need to get people back in the office. All these comfortable lifestyles, the perks that they're getting when it comes to work from home, we need to bring people back in the office because we need to tighten up. We need to make sure we tighten up the ship, and we need to start getting into making money again. So I think that's what's going on. Is when things are going well, they give you everything, but then when things get kind of tough, they want to bring everything back. So. Let's see what also Apple says. So Apple's also another company that's talking about obviously bringing back people to the office. So it says that Apple employees who work in Santa Clara County near the company's California headquarters have been called back to the office starting in September, where they are expected to work 3 times per week, according to the reports from Bloomberg and The Verge. Apple employees will be asked to go into their offices on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and individual teams will pick up an additional third day for in-person work. So it's almost like the Starbucks model, where they'll give you the 2 days, and then that third day they'll let you choose with your team. So the move is a sign that Apple remains committed to in-person work. Apple's culture has always been heavily emphasized in-person meetings and demos, and it develops and sells hardware which requires employees to be physically present. Over the summer, Apple employees have been working from their offices 2 days a week. Apple had planned to move to a system in which employees worked from the office 3 days a week earlier this year before it delayed the move in May, citing rise to COVID. So the question I got is the question I got with when it comes to this, working back, coming back to the office, are smaller companies going to follow suit? Because right now it just seems like, the large companies, you got the Starbucks, Apple, Disney. These seems to be and of course Twitter. Right now and I think it's Amazon is probably another one, but it seems like it's the larger companies that are trying to get people back into work. And a good question is are smaller companies going to be doing the same? Right? Or maybe they're gonna stick with the hybrid model, or maybe they're gonna see how things go with these larger companies and see how people respond to it, and then say, all right, we need to follow suit. So it's gonna be interesting to see where it goes, and especially you got the recession coming. So it's gonna be obviously it's gonna be hectic when it comes to that. Losing money. You see companies dropping Twitter's. You got Tesla losing Tesla dropping in value, Amazon dropping about 40%. So a lot of companies are losing money due to obviously interest rates rising. So it's gonna be interesting to see where they go. So what do you think? Do you think is the whole work from home, working remotely model dead, or is it it's just something that's just on pause for now? So if you got any comments or questions, make sure to leave it down below. Hit the like button and share. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. All right. So you guys take care and have a good one. Later.